Hello, anime fans. We are the anime connoisseurs. I'm Noah, and I have some very good news for all the One Piece fans who are watchers of this channel. Our very own Johan has finally started reading One Piece.
You'd love to see it.
You love to see it. I'm very happy to hear this. I'm sure a lot of you are very happy to hear this. So, Johan, tell us what made you finally decide to bite the bullet and start One Piece.
Oh man, where to begin? So I have a very funny story to tell. It's a long story, kind of, with three different main points. So the first point is going to be about how I entertained the idea of reading One Piece. The second point, or part of the story, is going to be how I put One Piece on the list. And the final story is going to be when I actually started reading it. Gonna be pretty funny.
Okay.
So I'm going to start with the first one, which is how I considered reading One Piece. So, this is pretty simple. This is not going to require much explanation, but basically, Noah here is a good friend of mine, and he, as you know, is a very big One Piece fan. In fact, it is a part of his top 5 manga of all time in terms of his favorites.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, when we talk about stuff like, Naruto or JoJo or whatever, he's going to bring, and like just anime and manga in general, he's going to talk about One Piece occasionally. So I trust Noah when it comes to quality stuff. Like if he says something's good, I trust him, And I mean, it's pretty agreed upon, as far as I know, that One Piece is a good manga, and overall the story is good, and like it's definitely worth your time if you get into it. So, that's one thing. And the community generally views it as like one of the best shonen mangas out there. So that's very helpful. And that also helps me with motivation. And the other thing is that Noah and I would sit in Discord calls talking for hours about Naruto. And I was thinking, like, man, we could do that about One Piece. One Piece is even bigger than Naruto. It's got, like, better world building and probably more to talk about, I imagine. So, if we're having these amazing and fun conversations about Naruto, why couldn't it be about One Piece as well, So, yeah, that's basically it for the first point. You have anything to say, Noah?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I've been, I've, to be honest, I don't know a whole lot of One Piece fans personally, like in IRL, so to speak. So I've always been hoping to find new people to talk about One Piece with, and Johan, we talk about anime a lot, so I've kind of always been like, kind of subtly nudging him to read One Piece, but I think that's about it for the first part of the story.
Yep. Okay, so the second part of the story is a specific YouTube video from a Naruto YouTuber you all probably know, named Swagkage. He made a One Piece video recently, and this video is the reason why I decided to put One Piece on the list. So, thank you very much, Swagkage, if you happen to see this.
Yes, thank you.
This helped me a lot, because motivation's not easy, Like, I don't know if some of you guys have problems with motivation, but it's not easy to, like, get motivated to do something at times,
Mm-hmm.
So, like, whenever someone motivates me to do something, it means a lot to me,
Yeah.
So, yeah, appreciate it, man.
Yeah. We'll link Swagkage's video in this video. And if you're on the fence about One Piece, I highly recommend you watch it, because it does a much better job of convincing than I think we could. Swagkage, great guy, great channel. Yeah, go check out his One Piece video if you think you might be interested.
Yep. So, specifically about the video, there was one line he made, and I don't know why this didn't click in my head, but when he said this one line, like, my brain exploded. I was like, wait a minute. So the line is, if you have some friends that want you to get into One Piece, it's probably because they want to talk to you about it. Now, I might be that might not be like the perfect wording. And when I listened to that, the first thing I thought of was Noah. I was like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. He wants to talk to me about One Piece. Wait a minute. And I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know why this didn't this didn't click in my head, or the gears didn't turn. It just this never came to my mind. I never realized this, but yeah, a good friend of mine wanted me to talk about One Piece with him. So yeah, what was I doing? But yeah, no. Sometimes you just need a video like that just to remind you, or for you to like connect the dots in your head. Nobody's perfect.
Mhm.
So yeah, that video really helped me, and maybe it will help you too. So we're gonna put the video in. You'll probably see it in the top right. Go watch it. Good video. So yeah, maybe that video helped me. Like I said, it's possible it might help you too. And if you're like Noah said, if you're on the fence about getting into One Piece, I think that is a great video to watch. So yeah, that is point number 2. Any
Yeah,
takeaways?
I think you just about covered it. Yeah, I totally agree with the points about it's One Piece. It's a very fun series to talk about and discuss, especially if you're if you're talking about like the weekly chapters that come out. It's a lot of fun to discuss them and debate about them and such and all that kind of thing.
All right, so the third point is very funny. So oh man, and this is the final straw that broke the camel's back. After this happened, I immediately went home and started reading One Piece. And this is really this is kind of a stupid reason, but honestly, it's really funny. So, I'm a human. Occasionally, I like to eat. Like happens to everybody.
Yeah.
You get hungry. So I went to Chick-fil-A, and I was like, man, I'm trying to get some chicken. So I got my food and everything, and I went to the window. You know how like there's usually a guy outside
Yeah.
that will like give you the food? Yeah. So that guy was like pretty young. He was like, I'm not even sure if he was older than me. He might have been like younger than me for all I know, but he was like around my age. And we were just having a normal conversation, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm a little tired, I stayed up kind of late last night. I was like, oh yeah, me too. I stayed up till 3. I was like, oh yeah, I stayed till 2:30, he's like, oh, what are you doing? We're watching a show. Now, to be honest, I wasn't actually watching a show. I just said that, to be like social, to like,
yeah, just to be cordial.
yeah, cordial, yeah, socially acceptable, just like, like keep the conversation going, So yeah, I was like, oh yeah, I was watching a show. He's like, oh yeah, what are you watching? So I lied to him again. And I said that I was watching Jujutsu Kaisen because I couldn't think of a real show I was thinking, oh man, should I mention that I was watching like, I don't know, Two and a Half Men or Big Bang Theory, but yeah, no. I think Jujutsu Kaisen is honestly more socially acceptable than those shows at this point. So it's like, so he's like, yeah, that's a great show. I love it. Like, oh yeah, it's pretty good. And then he's like, oh, do you watch One Piece? I'm like, oh, no, but it's on the list. I'm getting to it. You feel me? And he's like, oh, man, you watch anime, but you haven't seen One Piece? Man. I'm like, yeah. But, so, like, I knew some stuff because, obviously, I'm in the anime community, so I know, like, outside information about One Piece. Like, I know what the current arc is called. It's called Egghead Island, and I know, like, what, like, the arcs are in order, kind of, for the most part. And I know like what the good arcs are. I unfortunately know some spoilers because of the One Piece is real meme, but and stuff like that, and just being like, when you're on the internet for a very long time and you're an anime fan, you're gonna know these spoilers after a while, unfortunately. But yeah, so he told me like, oh man, you know a lot, like you haven't even read it and you know so much. I'm like, yeah, I got friends that talk about it, like so yeah. After that conversation, I went home and started reading because I was like, man, I'm not trying to go outside and talk to a One Piece fan and have nothing to talk about. I want to go outside, and then when an anime fan talks to me about One Piece, I want to know and be able to contribute to the conversation, So
Yeah.
And it's such a stupid story. Like it's a really stupid reason to get into One Piece, but like so yeah, that's it. That's
Yeah, so that was the tipping point.
Yep. It's really funny. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe one of you guys will have like a moment like that. It'll be pretty
Yeah,
funny.
yeah.
Um,
It's usually just like one little thing, you know. Uh,
mhm.
uh, for me, what got me into One Piece, I got into One Piece in March of 2020, which I don't know if y'all remember, but there was another big thing that happened in March 2020. Uh, so because of that big thing that happened in mid March 2020, I decided I was left with a lot more free time, as you can imagine. So I figured, well, I might as well. I'd been kind of side eyeing One Piece for a while, like, oh, I might be into this, but you know, I was in high school at the time, so I was like, oh, who has the time? Uh, but yeah, that happened, and I had a bunch of free time, so I was like, well, I might as well just get started with it now because it's not like I have anything better to do. And the rest is history, you know.
Yep. So that's how I got into One Piece. Here's the other thing that helped me too. One Piece is a long series. However, you don't have to read all of it start to finish in one sitting. You can take breaks. And what I did, and what Noah and I worked on, we split the story into chunks. So basically, I would read one arc per day, or if I would read as much as I can, and then if I'm really tired, I just don't feel like it, like I'll read the rest of it another day. So for example, I read all of Romance Dawn in one day. I read all of Orange Town in one day, and then I read all of Syrup Village in another day. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, and you can split the bigger arcs into chunks too. And Noah did a really good job of doing that to make it so
Yeah,
that like you're not reading 100 chapters in a day. You're reading like 20 or 30. You
yeah.
know?
I tried to keep it to like between 15 to 35 chapters per sit down. You know, just to try to keep it manageable.
Yeah, and there's a whole like saga. So like basically the first one is called I think it's called the East Blue Saga. Is that
East
correct?
Blue Saga, correct?
Yeah, so once I get to what is the arc that I need to get to? Rogue Town?
Rogue Town. That's the last. Yeah, that's the last arc in in that saga.
Yeah. So once I finish that, I'm done with one of them. And then the second one is called what's the second one called?
Second, well, a lot of people, some people call it the Alabasta Saga. I call it the Baroque Works Saga. You would know which one I'm talking about, whichever one I say. But yeah.
Yeah. So and that one ends with Alabasta, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. So once I finish Alabasta, I'm um
Yeah, and then you keep going and so on and so forth. And it is a good, nice little milestone. You know, you've got your sagas. You know what's coming up. Uh, yeah, and I did the best to kind of split them up so that each uh yeah, with the bigger arcs, I tried to split it up so that each one kind of ends on a cliffhanger or a stinger to kind of prod the imagination as what might come next. You'll probably see what I mean as you keep reading.
yeah. And so yeah, that was really helpful and it made One Piece seem a lot more digestible than it looks on paper,
Hmm.
which helps you with motivation and stuff like that. And another thing, this is another bonus thing. If I if I get to Alabasta or if I get past Alabasta, Noah agreed to read my favorite visual novel, so we can have multiple series to talk about. That'll be great. It'll be very fun. And I mean, yeah. So stuff like that. Like if you have a friend that you talk to that likes One Piece, you could do stuff like this. You know what I mean? Where you
Yeah,
split them up and you could like make it easier on your friend, or maybe you could ask your friend, "Hey, how do I make this easier to read?" Or
yeah. Well, I mean, that might not be. Well, I specifically, I just like freaking love categorizing things. That's my brain. If you do have a friend who's willing to do that, I think it's a really good help. I mean, I maybe could share my categorization of arcs at some point. Yeah, that I think. Yeah, just making it manageable. I think that is a really good strategy. Don't try not to think about it as one giant daunting task. Take it one little bit at a time, and you'll be caught up before you know it.
yeah.
Okay, that's everything we have to say. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, make sure to leave a comment if you have anything to say, and subscribe if you want to see more content like this.
Have a good one, guys.
Yeah, this has been the Anime Connoisseurs. Good night, everybody.